I gotta get myself located just like this for the mobile view for everybody. Okay, there we are. Do I need any other things? No, we're all there. We're all good. That's live. That's happening. That's doing all the things. Okay. That's a really sort of weird angle, but that's all right. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lunch Hour. Taking any questions anybody has or whatever else is going on. Hey, Da Vinci. Yeah, let me know if y'all have any questions about whatever. I am going to sit here and just chat a little bit while I eat my Fig Newtons, and the rest of y'all can do whatever you do. Yeah. Hey, Pixel Washer. Tech Warrior. Hey, Pixel, who you say? PB Trick. Yassay. Huh. I'm supposed to use. Pixel Waster, will you offer a masterclass in DFAM? We've kind of already done that. Manners. I mean, that's this YouTube channel. We have gone ahead and pulled a lot of our Design For videos into one single video that's on the channel right now. It's about 10 hours long. That's a masterclass. Like that, you can go through and watch all of that, and that's totally fine. So I would say that's probably the best one. Getting some Mediterranean food for lunch. That's good stuff. Cheese and salad. Alrighty. What else y'all got? But yeah, that video over on the core channel is has 10 hours of design for 3D printing. It should cover you if you haven't already done some of this stuff. Oh, I want to show you guys this thing. This is awesome. This. Wait, am I actually centered in frame? Yes, I'm centered in frame. This is a new camera coaster. Totally worth it. And then you drink the thing, get whatever you want. This is the best thing. I love this so much. These are going to be coming out in a video here in just a little while. And I talk about how we designed these things to do what they do. This is going to be a fantastic product, and the video itself is really interesting too, because the mechanisms inside of here are an excellent design for 3D printing video there. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. Oh, and then this is his buddy. This is a different one. This is not from us. This is a designer on Maker World. Cannot remember her name. I think it was something like Mufezi or something like that. So I don't really know that. It's one of those things. Why didn't I think of that? I know. It's one of those things. We all need one of those things. Watch it and use some of the ideas. Oh, fantastic. Then you're good to go. There's much of the videos that we do anymore are very often how to do a very particular type of thing, which isn't really good for class, but it can be useful if you're like an established user who has a very specific application that you want to use. Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm going to totally jack with the whole system, because right now the stats I'm seeing for concurrent viewers, okay, it's bumping back up again. Parker's gonna get mad at me, but we're experimenting, so I we're doing a test here with these streams. We're doing a stream every day here at lunch hour, but we also are trying to figure out the right way of doing it. There's desktop mode, there's mobile mode, and then there's mobile mode, real mobile mode. So the obvious is not obvious until someone points it out. Yeah, for sure. But we are trying to go ahead and figure out the best methodology for streaming this stuff. And I'm getting the vibe right now that it is better to stream straight from a phone because it gets more concurrence. And I'm going to verify that right now with a side-by-side. And we're going to see which one gets more. Because right now this has had its duration of time. It's had 10 minutes of time for views to bake in and that kind of stuff. So now we're going to go ahead and just see how stuff is going. I'm not going to turn it on quite yet. Parker, if that'll blow something up, speak now or forever hold your peace. Parker is my producer. He's up watching this right now. I think he's in the chat. Okay. What questions do people have? Why not do both mobile and studio mode? We do that. We are doing that right now, technically. Like, we are currently streaming to both mobile and studio mode. So you would think that would be great, but YouTube is not treating that equally. When we are streaming directly from the studio like this, it tends to get different levels of engagement from if we stream straight from a phone. Why? I have no idea. We are simply doing the experiment. And then those of you who are interested in streaming and want to learn, you're going to get the shortcut because we're going to do all the work and then tell everybody how to do it if anybody watches. So here we go. I'm prepping up this other stream. Slant 3D. Stream. Okay, and then hold on. Take a thumbnail. There we are. Yep, go live. Here we go. And I'm going to run this alongside, and we're going to see how this goes. Because there's so much stuff that is just incorrect all the time about this. To where YouTube supposedly did an upgrade of how they were categorizing streams. So they're theoretically, this new way we were doing it was supposed to increase concurrence. But it hasn't. So I'm going to stream down here on mobile and see if it's actually propagated through. And if it hasn't, then we'll go ahead and move on with life. But we'll see. All right. How much does color add to cost of a spool? 0. The colorant is added to Filament at a ratio of like 0.03%. So like if you're coloring a batch of beads and you've got a kilogram of beads, you add no, it's not a kilogram of bead. Yeah, it's like 0.03, 0.02%, something like that. It is a very small ratio, especially for black. Black, you're way down at like 0.01% or so in order to get the colorant, or the color that you want there. So that's always kind of what's up. Okay. Why can't we use numbers and names of portal stores? That honestly might just be a bug. But the numbers, I don't know. I wish I did. I didn't write that piece of code, and I wasn't that involved with it all. It is funny that there aren't numbers in there, but you can say 3D. You'll be fine. We're going through and doing some work on portals here over the next week or so. So a few of those things will get changed. Email support@slant3d.com if you've been having an issue with it. Oh no, this is not beer. This is Dr. Pepper. And we'll get that added on there. So yeah, there's a few kind of quality of life things that we need to do with portals. So that'll be coming up here pretty soon. But no, this is a Dr. Pepper. Okay. Let's see here. What else can we talk about? Videos coming up. I did the demos for new people on the other stream. Hold on. Hold on. I'm not going away. I'm not going away. I just want to show this thing off again. I have my other Dr. Pepper over here just for showing on camera. This is just to have interesting stuff on the stream for people to spot. Oh, I'm so ready for this video. Oh, by the way, Parker, we can shortify this. Cut this out of the stream, wherever it is. It looks great on camera. Not the large format stream, like that one. There we go. And this is the teaser for the video on Sunday, or on Saturday. All right. Yeah, the koozie is awesome. This koozie, the separate one, is from a gal on Maker World who designed it. And we printed it out because we're doing a number of koozie things with videos right now. And I wanted to have some things to compare against. And this is great design. I really like this design. It's a good idea. It's fun. And it's around. So there we go. All right. Hard to hear you next to the lathe there, Gabe. Shane, can you give me more context? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Is there a bunch of background noise? There shouldn't be. It's not very loud in the factory today. It looked like a paper bag from the back. Oh, it does. You're right. It kind of does. Has already going when I got the notification. Jimmy's 89. Yeah, the stream is going in 2 separate locations right now. And we're going through and doing an experiment to see which one wins. And on the plus side, right now, the live from the phone has been running for about 5 minutes now. And it's only up at 11 concurrent right now. And the other one is at a higher concurrent. So that's good. That's good news. So we'll see what else is there. Okay, let's see what else is going on since yesterday. Oh, teleport facelift is going to be dropping probably today. We'll turn that loose. Go, any of the guys who are using it, go ahead and go beat it to death over there and let us know anything that's up or weird with it all. It's a big UI revamp, particularly around matching. It's both easier and different. So we'll see how that all goes, but it should radically improve a lot of the functionality of teleport and just make it more comfortable in general. We're coming up on, we've been working on that for several weeks. But yeah, that'll drop and we'll see how it goes. We're getting that out the door, and then, yeah, no, I'm not gonna turn that loose. We will go ahead and mess with people texting me. People texting me all over the place, messing up my phone. We will be having a number of upgrades come through on Teleport. We have a few apps coming out. There's a few more free tools that will get built here. We've been knocking out a bunch of those. So like organizing STLs and building out STLs. I'm going to turn this around this direction so that I can drink from the back and then hold it correctly like normal. There are a few STLs organizing tools that will help with batching and grouping and recombining files and splitting files and all this other stuff, which should help people kind of in general. So yeah, those are going to come loose here so that people have an easier time getting into Teleport. All these tools we are building separately, and then we see utilization of the tool, and then if the tool is useful, we will integrate it into Teleport itself. So that's going to continue to be a thing. What's the recommended size for splash image or banner? Zaxman 3D. It depends on what platform you're on. If you're putting it, the splash image is generally croppable to whatever it is, so it'll upscale or downscale whatever image you have. The bigger, higher resolution image you can have, the better. That is the way to do it. In the idea when you might have some more pet G, I'm assuming that's for Tangled. Not for Bit. Tangled will have some interesting releases here fairly soon. So yeah, there'll be that over there. I've been wondering about metal 3D printing regarding sintering. Is that something you guys do or have explored? We've explored it extensively in past years. But we are not going to do metal for many more years. Here's the way we look at it. Every 3D print service always goes out of business because they do too many different things. And metal 3D printing is very different from polymer, just like FDM is very different from SLA. Anyone who diversifies is generally saying, oh, I can't sell any more of that stuff. But I know that 85% of plastic parts today could be mass produced with FDM. Like this part right here. We could probably make about somewhere, if we were being generous with capacity and that kind of stuff, we could probably make 3,000 to 6,000 of these things a day pretty easily without really breaking a sweat, and keeping our operations rolling. So mass production is super easy on this. There's a lot of these things out there to be made, and people are doing it with molds, but it's just a really expensive way to do it. So there's really no reason to do metal, because metal is just so different, doesn't add any value, and there's so much more plastic to do. Any small 3D print service that diversifies means that they don't have a good sales process. By the way, this is true of like companies in general. If a company is adding more options rather than improving or deepening an existing option, they haven't solved the sales problem. By the way, that also applies to us. We, here in the new year, we've really revamped like the sales process, and we're going through and working on that and building that out a ton. Literally just before the stream, I was talking to one of the guys, and I was like, in the sales process, we need to get them to a decision. We need to lead the person to a place where we're guiding them. We don't want to leave people to wander around and make decisions, because people don't know what they don't know. We need to get them on a call so that we can show them the stuff, and then everybody gets it. We don't want to be dropping links and that kind of stuff. Let's see here. What do we got over here? When extruding a TPU, is more colorant needed than when extruding PLA? I have heard it's about 2 to 3% typically. Currently, we are adding about a 4% colorant to get the desired shade. TPU, I'm not super familiar with. The amount of colorant to be added is dependent upon your master batch and, yes, your resin. TPU may it also depends on the type of mixing screw that you have, how well it can distribute the colorant in time. So sometimes you have to go with higher densities in order to get to what am I trying to say? Get to the desired distribution of color. So you will overfill so that there's just enough there that'll definitely mix in the time it's passing through the extruder. TPU has really odd flow dynamics when going through an extruder, a filament extruder. So you need to really look at how to keep it going, or how much you need. So if you're at 3 and 4% and it's fine, cool, it's fine. Colorant is relative to the number of, well, colorant's fairly expensive at a 3 or 5% ratio, but also, again, it depends on what your master batch is. All right, what else we got? Florida Foilers with the prof. Am I the prof? I don't know. What's going on, Florida Foilers? What do you want to talk about? Let's see here. What's the recommend? Can you talk? Oh, Gabe, can you talk best practices in using a Shopify store, a TikTok store, in combination with an existing store on a separate platform, Commerce 7, looking to add to our existing online sales? So you're using Commerce 7, and you want to add Shopify and TikTok to it? Is that correct? There, Wine Guy 7000. Here's the thing. I don't know anything about Commerce 7. I've never heard of that before. So I don't know where to go with that necessarily. Best practices in using Shopify store. Here are best practices for e-commerce in general. Make sure you have a single destination. If you're doing TikTok, if Commerce 7 is just like a tool and not an actual website, I would say take Commerce 7, connect it into Shopify, and make Shopify your master. Shopify is a very good master website because it can be the single source of truth that then spreads out to everything else. Because if you have a Shopify store, you can then populate a TikTok shop from it. You can populate an Etsy store from it. You can, I assume, populate Commerce 7 store from it. But then the TikTok or the Shopify becomes your core store. And you build that out, and then everything runs out to everywhere else. Your Shopify can connect into Teleport, so you can have items printed and shipped for you. All of that stuff can be done. So that is the best way of doing this. Make one of these your master. If you're doing two in parallel, you're probably doing something wrong, and it will eventually cause a problem for you. And it will be a problem that is worse and worse to fix the longer you exist and do stuff. Okay. With the proliferation of multicolor prints, are you guys going to jump on the boat? Oh, that's an interesting question. Because of multi-tool printers since last year. Well, here's the thing, Florida Foilers. Multicolor printing has been around and has been as that functional since it started. There's been a lot of optimizations over the last few years, but Prusa had an AMS in 2018. There have been multi-extruder nozzles since 2012. There's nothing really new with this time around, except that fidget toys are actually popular enough that people want to make them. But fidget toys, which are the primary driver of like multicolor demand right now, I think they're a good proof positive that there's something to be done with multicolor, but that's not like broadly, that doesn't mean it's true. And fidget toys, we've done fidget toys before too. In 2016, 3D printers got a ton of business making fidget spinners. Fidget toys, fidget animals right now are the it thing, but they're fashion. And fashion is a terrible thing to build a business around. Whenever we make a product decision around Teleport or something else, we ask, okay, is this thing going to be useful 5, 10, 20 years from now? Or is it only going to be useful here for the next couple of years until people get bored? If it is only for the next couple of years, then we don't really want to do it. If we can see the future of it for 10 or 20 years, then we absolutely can do it. But if you're thinking, okay, will this exist in 20 years? You look back and say, okay, what existed 20 years ago? 20 years ago, if you did multicolor prints, you would put two parts together, or you would paint or put a sticker on something. Compared to multicolor printing, those are vastly more efficient processes and fairly easy to automate. Right now, the functional use of multicolor print that I've seen a lot of is literally just labels, like putting white text on a black part. And that can be done with texture very well. And it also is just kind of more robust. But that way of using multicolor to create labels can be done more efficiently with different methods. So like a post laser process or something like that can cut out a good multicolor label on a part. Which, by the way, also applies to like giving a fidget squirrel eyeballs. Multicolor printing right now, for me to think that it's like fully baked and like at the correct technology, would be when it's a single strand of filament. Frankly, there was a machine years ago, a multi-material machine made by, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. I know these guys really well. Mosaic Manufacturing made the pallet. And it would take filament, put it in a line, and chop filament in different lengths into a single line. And it did multicolor fine on any machine with a single extruder. I think that's a better way of doing it. I'm quite certain that's a better way of doing it because you have a single strand of filament, a single nozzle, and a single point of failure. These things like index and vortex and all the rest of it are just introducing a lot of complexity into a machine. And in a production environment, that's not a good thing to do because you have a much higher down rate of the machines. Now, right now, margins on multicolored parts are really useful to where you can pay for it. People like Wiglets and that kind of stuff are running thousands of machines producing multicolored parts. So it works, but they're doing it on a build plate. It's somewhat unreliable, and they're doing it with consumer devices that are going to burn out in 18 months. So multicolor in its current state works barely, but that doesn't mean that it needs like radical adoption. That all being said, multicolor is in Teleport right now. It's on going into the enterprise tier subscription. So people will be able to get multicolor if you want it, and we'll produce your parts. You just have to have kind of a minimum volume to support it. Is this a daily thing now? Oh, the stream? For this week, it's a daily thing. And yes, we may be doing streams daily forever. We'll see. We're trying to see, we're doing the experiment. Whenever we're doing content or really anything, we try it, we dip our toe in it, see if it works and has any signal, and then if it continues to work, then we do it whole hog and say, okay, how far can we push this? Can we do it 50 times a day, or should I be streaming 24/7? And then we're like, okay, that's probably too much, and then we dial it back to where it was. So like with the Slant 3D YouTube channel, when we first started, we made one video a week for about 3 months, and then we saw, okay, this is working, so we started making 3 videos a week, and then we went to 7 videos a week, and then we dialed it back to basically 2 a week right now. Well, 1 core video, and then the podcast each week, and then Slant Pod videos around. So there's a lot of things there. But yeah, right now with live stream, we are experimenting, and we're going into the extreme every single day for a moment. The last 8 weeks, we've been doing the streams regularly, and they seem to be a good form of content that is useful because you guys get to talk to me. And we're just figuring out the right way of doing it. What are the right times of day? When is the right time of day? Literally, if we're doing this really correctly, I need to take a day and stream literally for like 16 hours, which is a lot. But that would give us a full graph of viewership over the day and over a long period of time. The issue is I'm not sure I can talk for 16 hours a day. And Parker, our one of our producers, he was like, oh, Gabe, don't worry. You can handle it for 12 hours. Most streams don't have anything going on the whole time anyway. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I have to make sure that there's content at every single second while people are watching this so that it's worth watching. So we got to have things happening all the time. Otherwise, it's just not a good stream. And you try and do whatever you can do to make sure that it's something useful if somebody stops by. So that's where we are inside the stream right now. Do you actually have data to back this up, or are you still a bias from 5 years ago? Oh, you keep saying that printers and things like Index are TIO. So we do. Like we always beta. We have all types of machines inside of our print farm where we beta test and evaluate them over time. The really simple thing, the data that we have and the data that we need comes from really heavy use or you need continuous use. This is kind of one of the flaws of manufacturing. We have more data than anyone else in the industry because we have 5 years of data. Bamboo Labs is not 3 years old. They're not even 3 years, are they? Well, wait a second. Did they do 20? No, it wasn't 2021. It was like 20, yeah, it was 2022. So they've had 3 years of operation and only like 2 years of really mass operation. So no one really knows when those machines break. When you build a factory, you need to know when the factory burns out. Otherwise, you buy 1,000 machines, and then 1,000 machines blow up 18 months down the road. The vast majority of these consumer electronics devices and the companies that are operating them have to maintain revenue on a yearly basis and continue growing, which means that designed obsolescence is required for this hardware. And we see that in this hardware when we're testing it out. The machines that we will allow into our facilities just aren't ideal. And as far as like the reliability, anecdotally, if you ever go to a print farm full of bamboo machines or something else, I went to like a college print farm the other day. They had 10 or 12 bamboo machines on the shelf. 3 to 4 of them were down for maintenance or broken, which is fairly typical in most print farms with consumer machines. So that's an anecdotal piece of data that people can see in their day-to-day life. So yeah, the reliability of them all, we pull from all kinds of different directions to see if something's useful. If those machines were proven out to where we knew, okay, yeah, we can buy 1,000 of those and they will operate for 5 years, 24/7 as advertised, that'd be great. But Bamboo hasn't existed for 5 years. Prusa does not have machines that meet that spec. And yeah, and we do. Our internal machines match the capacity and quality and everything else and have 5 years worth of data behind them. We also know that they're not going to depreciate to 0 or have a software update that bricks them in a little while. So we're really picky about the machinery that goes into farms. Also, from a manufacturing standpoint, a multi-extruder machine is by definition less reliable than a single extruder machine because it has twice as many parts with twice the probability of failure. So if you have 2 nozzles, you will be down twice as often because one of them will be plugged all the time. And that's just kind of a default of manufacturing. Extra parts and pieces always create more problems. So yeah, you design from the first principles, saying that if a machine doesn't follow those first principles, then you break away from there. It's like bed slingers. Bed slingers should not be used in a factory. They should not be used at all. From a fundamental standpoint, you have the foundation of your part moving back and forth, and that's supposed to create high reliability. People have jerry-rigged in good linear bearings and that kind of stuff, but it's still obviously worse than a single bed with the nozzle moving up there. Because as soon as you have a kilogram of plastic thrown around or a tall, thin part, the methodology stops working. So there's fundamental design approaches that you can go at with all this stuff in order to see if you're making the correct decision. Parker streaming from Parker's our producer. Streaming from the phone has double the concurrence of desktop right now, Parker. Sorry, hate to say it. That's the clincher. We're streaming from phone all the time, forever anymore. This was a test. We tried it. No, we're going to do phone for 2 or 3 months, and then we'll circle back around and try again or something like that. I still really like the idea of index mainly because the primary material, and I dislike support 0mm gap. Oh, I have no, like, the index machine device and system is all cool. Like, I'm not saying that that's not viable and not useful. It totally is. It's just not useful in production in the stuff that we do. So yeah, index as a system, I really appreciate, because those guys did a really good job on it. I also appreciate Vortec and what they're meant to do. But they're systems that are effectively intended to continue what 3D printing has been designed for, which is prototyping and one-offers and low kind of sampling runs. They're not ideal for production, because in production you want the maximum throughput and reliability that you can get a hold of. And multicolor machines just do not meet that qualification. But that does not mean that those machines are not useful. They're just not useful in that context. Assume that your custom-made internal machines run on a duet board. No, Hot Wheels, they do not. Let's see here. Over here, let's see here. Adding to the multicolor. I have a model I would love to offer in Portals, but one part of it needs a contrast color for a pattern in the first 2 to 3 layers. Zaxman 3D. That's fair. Yeah, for Portals, here's the thing. With like Portals, it's more restrictive because we take more risk. On Portals, we're effectively the seller and you're the designer. So if you make a mistake in the design or something like that, that's on us. So Portals is much more restrictive because it gives you so much less responsibility. If you want fully custom items and that kind of stuff, you can email us. We will make 1,000 parts for you and we'll ship them to you with multicolor, whatever you want. Totally fine with that. But as you get more and more automation, like Teleport, we automatically print and ship. Portals, we take care of sales and liability and shipping and everything else. That in those contexts, we have to narrow down and restrict more stuff to make sure that the correct things are being made without blowing stuff up. But if you want a full custom batch of something made, we will make whatever 3D printed parts you want, from carbon fiber with gold inlaid moon dust grind filament. We'll make that for you. But since you are wanting such a custom and specific thing, you effectively have to pay for it. You have to buy 1,000 of those pieces, and then we go through a 2-week setup process and that kind of stuff. Whereas with Portals, you upload a file and 30 seconds later it's for sale. So yeah. Or if you want that multicolor and you want it in Teleport, you can get onto the Enterprise tier. And then we will set up machines with that multicolor there, but the Enterprise tier has a monthly increased cost from what the normal premium tier is, because we're building something custom for you. Thing is, I want to be 100% hands off and I'm not in the US. I get that, man. But that requires you, if you want to be totally hands off and have no responsibility, then you have to accept the system as it is. We continuously add in new features to try to make this stuff work more, but there's a limit to how much we can do, because there's technically whatever 6 million colors out there that we don't have yet in Portals or Teleport. Working on adding more. and in more variations. And then you have that 6 million colors multiplied by 6 million if you're just 2 colors. And all of those need to be supported. So this is the kind of giant infinite hole you can go down when introducing more options in one of these applications. Just a side note for your next stream, please up the sound. On our side, we can always turn it down. I'm not sure I have control of the sound here. Microphone might be a tad away. Michael B, let me know, is that better? Is that better? Is this better? You're on the desktop stream, so you're coming from that mic. The guy's down here on this mic. So we'll see how that all lands. But let me check, see if there's desktop audio. Here we go. I got it. There we go. Maxed out sound. It was at 70%. But yeah, Michael Ashbury, see if that's better. Check that now. Give me one more sound check. Test 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay. Let's see here. What else we got? Mobile sound was good. Thanks, guys. Do you know anything about the reliability of Centauri carbon printers? Tried the carbon. We've got one over in the other room there. The main issue with the carbon is that it does not have a wired internet link. And that for us is also kind of a non-starter, because wirelessly networked printers is the wrong way to build a print farm. If you're building a data transfer system to where you want live control of machinery, having it on a Wi-Fi, industrial, enterprise or not, is a bad decision compared to wiring the machine into the thing, because it's just more reliable and easier to troubleshoot in a system and everything else. So the fact that Centauri Carbon is only Wi-Fi enabled, we tested it for print quality and that kind of stuff, and we were like, great, well, it's no better than the stuff that we're doing right now, and doesn't network, so it's not one of the options. Because whenever we're building machines, even our own machines, we want redundancy for ourselves. So we want to make sure that any of the machines that we, anything that we're doing, there's a backup for it. Because we're building a production farm. If we go down for a week, people's businesses suffer. Etsy sales don't go through, don't get delivered. People freak out. It's a problem because people are building on our infrastructure. And if we just crap out one day, that's not acceptable. That's like saying, oh, don't worry, your credit cards won't work for today. I'm like, I gotta buy groceries. Visa, figure out how to keep your stuff running. And we're in that mode of just making sure that everything we have is absolutely reliable and can continue to grow. Because if somebody's TikTok goes viral tomorrow and we need to deliver 1,000 parts for them, we need to make sure our system is there and growing and taking care of them so that we don't screw up somebody's businesses. This is so critical for Teleport. It's just making sure that people are protected and their livelihoods are correctly maintained. So yeah. Alrighty. Would you consider adding a design/printability consult service? Pixel Waster. So you kind of get this if you order a prototype. The prototypes automatically get flagged for like a manual review of some sort, so we can kind of see what's up, because a lot of times people will upload bad parts. When a part goes through for the first time, and is a prototype, the team does a manual review on the STL. And then they'll write some notes that come back to you, and they'll say like, hey, there's some really terrible overhangs on this, might want to reorient it. Very often we will go in and try to fix it ourselves. So defective STLs, things uploaded backwards, overhangs. It's not super detailed. It's like a paragraph response, but it's something there. As far as doing print consult service, I can do that on these streams. If you guys have files that you want to see on these streams, let me know. We have a submission form. I'll forward that to Parker for next streams. But where was I going with this? You will be able to submit links to me, and I can look at your files here on the stream. And I have said that I get to show them, but we probably will end up not, just because then I don't have to share a screen. and I can just give you verbal feedback on your file, but I'm going to describe it out loud here on the stream. My ECC, Elegoo Centauri Carbon, broke a main board after 30 hours and the USB cable to the tool head after 55 hours. There's some community feedback on the Carbon. Pixel Waster, no problem there. Yeah, if you have any problems, just let us know. Cool. We've got audio fully maxed out now. It's up there in the red. Alrighty. How is Tangled doing? Barfed 64. Tangled, we released gray PLA a few weeks ago, so now you can get black and gray PLA for $10 a kilogram over on tangledfilament.com, made entirely in the USA. So we did that. As far as other stuff on Tangled, there's other stuff. Tangled's in a weird spot right now because we're focusing really heavy on teleport right now. So we're not gonna do a big ol' heave-ho. Well, there's kind of a big heave-ho coming on Tangled. We'll see. Hey, yeah, Parker, mobile views are still double the concurrent on the other side. Just saying. I would say potentially mobile could have poached some of the views from the other side, but I don't think that's the case. The internet is big. So yeah. Let's see here. I'm just curious, what is your typical output for your service daily? Quantity of prints per day is what I'm referring to. Jimmy, I can't reveal that to you. Because we don't reveal those numbers, those type of production numbers. Because that also is indicative of like our user outputs and that kind of stuff. But like our user data. So, but like something like this, we can produce about 3,000 to 6,000 of these things per day. If this was like each printer only made like one of these things, or maybe like 1.5 cycles or so. So that's what is feasible, because our main print farm is spec'd out with 3,000 machines, so we can make a bunch of parts when people need it there. But the demand will fluctuate depending on what's going on, because somebody will have like a video go viral and they're like, I need 10,000 parts in 2 days, and we're like, okay. Or we will have a production client who needs 100,000 pieces, and they'll fill in and do the production when there's not the other stuff around. So we try to keep it pretty steady and up at those higher volumes. But you have a seasonality to it. There's always a seasonality to all this stuff, because Christmas, of course, is the peak time. The day after Black Friday, there's a lot of parts going through, and we're not keeping up with demand at that point, even with our capacity. But it all works. Okay. This is the correct. You can choose quality. It's much better. Alrighty. We're probably going to wrap it there, guys. That's about time. I'm going to have to get to another meeting. What's the point of Benchy? Just to see how well your printer performed, or is there a way to use the results to improve your printer? There is a way to use the results of a Benchy to improve your printer. I think Tom Solander did a video about how to use the Benchy feature by feature. Because the Benchy tests overhangs, tests the hull lines, tests wall dynamics and that kind of stuff. So the Benchy is a very useful calibration print, except for dimensional calibration. But the Benchy also has kind of had its day, because it's only useful to a subset of the population that really wants to tune their very specific printer. So that's the thing there, is that it just it's not really relevant anymore, because 3D printing is so much less DIY than it used to be in the context of people building printers. But this is fascinating. I think the mobile view color looks better too. Do people on this stream, looking at me from here, do you, well, that fixed it. That just got it back into focus better. But does that look really, do I look paler than normal? Because down here I have a nice ruddy complexion, at least on the preview that I have. Up here I look like a sad husk of a human in my preview, to where it's like I crawled out of the crypt and might be a little clammy. And down here I look like, hey, what's up, fellas? We're down here on the beach or whatever else it was. Yeah. I need to change my settings. I need to change my settings in Bamboo Studio to improve printer? No. Jahames, if you are printing fine with the stuff that you got right now, don't change nothing. Just run with what you got. That's totally fine. What would you prefer, an enclosed printer or multi-material? Which one do you think is more useful? Okay, here's my thought process. Multi-material seems more useful to me in that context, unless I wanted to start doing nylon types of parts, which means that you want to have enclosed. But enclosed is not relevant for lower grade, lower temperature materials up to PETG and even ASA, because in a large print farm, the building is the enclosure. And admittedly, you're not going to get up to 110F inside of there. But generally, that's not necessary as long as you have stable temperature control. So I'm actually probably going to say multi-material is still more useful, because the enclosed printer is just kind of a redundant and over-complicated system where you have extra components. But the multi-material is going to take up more people's time in maintenance and refills and shenanigans, and also does not provide that much value. But like an enclosed printer screws up your production flow, because you got to open up the door and close it each time when you're collecting a part, which means automation is way harder and human time gets sucked up way more. But again, multi-material has more maintenance. I don't have an opinion about this because I don't have the data on that, but I would say, no, I'm going to go for on a desert island, I would want the enclosed printer more than the multi-material printer. Yeah, on a desert island. Oh yeah, the mobile stream is probably ahead because the desktop goes through 2 pieces of software beforehand. There's our control streaming software, and then there's actually YouTube itself. So the mobile might actually be a tad faster. Okay. All right, guys, we're gonna call it right there. We'll see. We'll do this again tomorrow. It will be earlier, I believe. I think we got to do it at 11:30 tomorrow because I have a meeting with people at 12. So we'll see what we're doing there. Stand by for the video coming up this Saturday about these things. These we'll turn this all loose for you. Oh man, that looks so good on camera. That looks so good on camera. I don't even care. Yeah. So we'll be doing that. And then, yeah, let me know if there's anything else. Have questions ready. If you need help with teleport or anything else, we can run through it. Or if you have questions about print farms and that kind of thing, we can go through it.